Hello and welcome to the section of this wonderful writing workshop where we are going to learn to do it. Of course, it's very important for us to experiment with the tools instead of just learning what they are. Looking at the last section, we were able to see that preschoolers have a lot of skills which they're able to use to develop in writing. We need to learn to invite preschoolers into our ability to be writers. There are amazing writers out there, don't get me wrong. H.P. Lovecraft, Stephen King, Maya Angelou, Edgar Allan Poe. But if we focus on those writers and we miss the boat on our own writers, which are in our preschools, we have failed the system. We need to inspire our preschoolers in a new way that's going to get them to reach across and say, yes, I'm a writer. And yes, I have something to add to society, because you know what? I don't want to be looking at the same literature 20 years from now. I want to see what the fruits of our labor has done to create new writers. I'm going to ask you to join me today. We're going to do a meditation. And I know that meditation is not something that is generally encouraged, but I do encourage it in this writing workshop. And it's going to be a positive meditation. I want you to think about, as we go into this exercise, exactly the fact that some preschoolers have great experiences and some do not. Some are advantaged, some are disadvantaged, some are completely different situations. And that's just like all of us in this classroom today. So I want to ask you if you will take a hold of yourself, close your eyes, and imagine that you are back in preschool. And if you did not go to preschool, that's okay. Think about that age, anywhere from 3 to 5. Imagine yourself there. What friends did you have? Were you able to make friends? Was it easy for you? Did you play in the sandbox, feeling the cool sand upon your hands, manipulating the gross things such as sea foam and all sorts of things like that? Were you one that liked to dress up and pretend you were a community helper, such as a fireman or a police officer? Or were you someone that liked the blocks and the puzzles? Think back to that moment, capture it, and close your eyes. And what I want you to do is, in just a minute, we're going to open our eyes. We're going to share about our experiences and what we saw in our preschool. All right. So now we're going to share. What are some of the things that you remember about preschool and what you were like as a preschooler? Excellent. I absolutely enjoy hearing those, because we have to not only think about our own preschool experience, but the experience of preschoolers nowadays, which is very different given technology, given all sorts of different tools that are available to them today, and the different ways in which parenting styles have changed. So now, with that being said, I want you to think and envision with me. You are your preschool self. What does it take for a teacher to make you feel like you are a writer? What are the elements that make you want to write? I want you to think about that. Close your eyes one more time and tell me what those are. I think you're right. Interests that people are interested in. Children, there's some very specific interests that are similar among child to child. We see a multitude of children that learn in different ways from the multiple intelligences. Musical children, children that are gifted in the arts and drawing and painting. We see children that are gifted in acting, that are pretending to be firefighters, pretending to be police officers. We see children that are engaging in the world around them that are beautiful. So perhaps in order for us to get them to write, we have to appeal to their interests and what they're guiding us to. This is a principle called emergent learning. When we pay attention to what they are learning, we are able to best benefit them and move them along. I want to share some of the development that we talked about already in this workshop was the ability for children to scan left to right, for children to turn pages at this age, and also to write. Now, when we are doing storytelling and we are doing activities with them that involve writing, yes, we might be the transcribers, but do we have to be? No. There are examples that I will be showing to you in this writing workshop of students that have written letters and done pre-writing, even scribbles that add up to a story. Because you see, as we learned today, the cognitive abilities of a preschooler are far more known than we even know. And you ask me, why? Why would this workshop even be possible? And here's what it is. This and this alone is my passion: to provide early childhood experiences to children through the realm of literacy that encourage them. Gone are the days that we ask Johnny and Susie, what is that? What is your story? Tell me the story that you just heard. Now we have the chance that we are aware of child development to bring them to that next level. We are going to be examining somebody named Bloom. And his work on his taxonomy is so vital in terms of young children. Sometimes we forget as educators just how valuable this truly is. We want our students to remember, to analyze, and to create, but we don't guide them along the process. Lev Vygotsky created a system called the zone of proximal development that allowed us to take a learner and a teacher and scaffold the development. It is our job and my belief that when we are teaching writing and this method, and we are teaching storytelling, and we are questioning our students, that we must bring them to that next level. We must bring them up to where we're at. And we must not dilute the material that we give to them. Higher level thinking should be rampant across the United States. And yet in some preschools, it is not, given socioeconomic status, given different factors that are controlled for. But it is my goal and my decision to bring out that aspect again, to bring out learners that will write, to tell children that they are writers, that they don't have to be able to spell out the words or know the exact answers, but we let them know that they can understand stories and tell stories that have not been told before, to create something new and original fun. Now, I'd like for you, out of this writing workshop, to remember 3 things. First of all, think about the work that we just did on children's development at the preschool level. They are ultimately able to understand this material. They are able to do critical analysis. They are able, and I want you to remember that. The children at the preschool age are able. Secondly, I want you to remember that we are able. We are able to provide them with a higher level thinking. So when you have a student that is learning about writing and that has just read a story, the story that we're kind of focusing on right now is the real story of the 3 little pigs. My job is not to ask that student, okay, what happened in that story? That is a failure of the educational system. My responsibility would be to ask that next question. Do you believe the wolf was innocent? And if he was, what really happened? You rewrite the story. This is us tossing back our passion to our students to give them the knowledge that they can do it themselves. This is all tied back to emergent learning and an ability for students to be proud of what they put forth. Again, giving to the culture that they already are writers. We just guide them. And the third principle that I would like to offer you today is how we can differentiate our lesson plans based upon student need. So it is possible to create these lessons and to differentiate them based upon every student's need as far as what they desire from the general curriculum. So we don't have to give every child the same question. That's not a necessity. We can give one child a higher level question and a different one to another child. However, despite special education needs, this can be done. We have to be able to take it to the next level and encourage our students, no matter what exceptionality, that they can think and do that next step. And this is what this writing workshop is about today. It's about encouraging our students to bring that higher level thought that is already in them, but we need to pull out of them. I want to encourage you, there is a worksheet that we're going to be working from with the beginning, the middle, and the end. And it actually is highlighting Bloom's taxonomy and his work. And we're going to take and write down some questions or some activities that possibly you can use when you are working with your students. Possibly something like a higher question or an activity that would bring forth more creativity. Simply asking a student to retell a story is not enough. I cannot identify that enough today. You need to ask them to create their own, to give a twist, to analyze what they're learning, and then create, which is the top of blooms. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this, and then I'm going to check in with you, and we will see exactly what you were able to learn in this time period.